I was recently speaking with someone at the Movement for Black Lives who asked me why I do this. Like, why are you doing this work? And the reason is because the idea of this other being somehow subhuman is both personal to me and disgusting to me. So, whenever you go to a Holocaust museum, you're going to see this poem by a German poet, Martin Moller, and it's a very long poem, so I'm only going to read a very short bit of it, but it essentially says, well, it doesn't essentially say, it says, first they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. So that's why I'm here, because the only way that we prevent further persecution of people who are somehow lesser because they're not part of some sort of rich white movement, like that only is overcome when we realize that we way outnumber them until we decide that we don't. When we participate in the oppression Olympics, we divide ourselves into these small, weakened factions. But when we come together and unite against a common oppressor, there's absolutely nothing stopping us. So what does that mean for reimagining the revolution? So it means that in my book, I listen, I ask questions, and I amplify. I credit, I don't co-opt. One of the things that I've done in the last year is I've produced a newspaper, and it's for All of Us or None, which is a civil rights organization fighting for the restoration of civil and human rights for formerly and currently incarcerated individuals. And I make a newspaper, and I don't have a byline on anything. It's actually the only people who get bylines are people who contribute who are not me. And the reason why I do that, it's very purposeful. I do it because this is a platform. I am not myself personally incarcerated. I believe that we are all impacted by the system of mass incarceration, but I am not myself. I have never been incarcerated. So because I'm not directly impacted, this newspaper and my responsibility in producing it is to amplify voices who are directly impacted, because that's what makes change. So when we say Black Lives Matter and not all lives matter, we are amplifying the voices that are directly impacted by police brutality and the most devastating rates in the country, because that's how change is exacted. We're not saying that 6 million people didn't die. We're saying 6 million Jews died and other people died. We're not saying all lives don't matter. We're saying Black Lives Matter because this is the moment in history that we are in. And so I use the newspaper as a platform to amplify voices who can't be heard. In my case, or in the case of the newspaper, it's people who are incarcerated and have a very difficult time getting their voices heard. And I've talked about that with one of the people that I profile in the book, Hashima Denim. The other thing is that, so the book is going to have my name on it. So unlike the newspaper, I am going to have my name on the book. And that's because it's my journey through the civil rights movement, the modern civil rights movement. And I think that's important because it's not accessible to all people who look like me. It might be easier to have people who think they just can't get in there, or for whatever reason, because of their identity politic or their oppression Olympics, to have someone that can sort of hold their hand and walk them through the doors, and that's fine. But it's important that when we get into the chapters, when we talk about the movement and we talk about the different roads that people are paving toward racial justice and a more just society, I'm going to profile the people who are directly impacted, how they came up with that identity politic, and where that originated from. And then I'll let them tell you about their ideas, and about their lessons, and about what they're going through, and about the best ways that we can help as white allies. So that's what I wanted to sort of talk about today, was because I've been thinking about it a lot since the person that I was speaking to asked me, like, why are you here? And I think that it really comes down to that idea that, like, I see a common oppressor, and I've seen what that common oppressor has done in the past, and I will do everything in my power to ensure that it never happens again.